to yet another Home Arcade podcast, where today we're going to be talking about the year 2022, which hasn't happened yet, but we're going to be talking about what we want, what we need from Arcade1up in 2022. I'm going to go through a list of things, positives that they've done in 2021, negatives that are in 2021, and what they have to fix. Like, there's a checklist they have to fix, and I need your help in the chat. I need to hear from you. We need to say things like positives. These are the positive things that we want, that we need going forth. They need to keep doing this. Negative things that it just set you back, and you're like, what are they doing? They gotta fix it on their next round of cabs. Or even some of the things need to be fixed right now. Like, can they do firmware updates for some of those things? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to go through the technology that they've really improved on in the last couple years. And then some cabinets that have really not really gotten those updates that they've promised, or re-releases. And there's some good things in the community that's going on, and I want to share that. Again, the show is supposed to be positive, although we'll talk about negative things in this video. The point of it is hopefully Arcade1up could hear this. Even if they don't watch this podcast, which they do from time to time, this is something that I would love for you to be sharing with them. You know, maybe if you learn something new in this, comment in the different Facebook groups and express your opinions. Maybe I can help you shape those thoughts as well. We can figure out ways to articulate all this stuff really well. So thank you so much for joining the show live. We are here live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about my favorite topic, and that is home arcade in this podcast format. So let's say hi in the chat. It looks like we got a good turnout for this evening. I see we got Adam, we got Console Fanboy, Hollywood Polo, Jason, Lewis Chambers, Papa Brad Gaming. What is going on, guys? And I see you guys are sharing, and I really appreciate that. You're sharing your thoughts. Dawn of Time, he is saying, what is he saying? I really want them to support all their cabinets. These are not disposable products, especially with the new prices. We need parts, and it shouldn't be a gamble which cabinet gets firmware updates. That's the spirit, man. That's the spirit. So I really appreciate that. You know, it's good constructive feedback, right? That's what we all should be doing. So first of all, I'm going to jump right in. We need a Pro line. We've been talking about that for over a couple of years now, and I think Arcade1up is starting to show their colors and show their shapes and sizes, how they got partycades and countercades and the legacy cabinets, and they got these distinct little categories that they can do, and they seem to be always kind of improving, but we need that big one that they talked about years ago. I don't think it's happened yet. So I want to get in, and let's see, we're going to talk about a couple things, and I'm going to show you about the Midway that I have. I'm going to show you about the Miss Pac-Man. But before we do that, before we do that, I got to do something else. There's one more thing I promised that I would do, and give me 1 second, guys, to get this prepared. All right, so before we go any further, we're gonna take a look at those things, but I have to mention we have a sponsor for this podcast, and I really appreciate you checking this out. So this episode, I messed that up. This episode is sponsored by Manscaped. No joke. Like, Manscaped reached out to me and said, hey, we would love to sponsor your podcast. And so they did, and they do it by way of these coupon codes that you can use. You can save 25% if you use the coupon code KITS at manscaped.com. Now, think about it for a second. I was like, really? You're going to sponsor that? So they sent me this trimmer that they had, and I never thought about it before, and they kind of posed this in the email that they sent. They're like, do you use the same trimmer for everything? Maybe you need a distinct one. And I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay, cool. I'll give it a shot. And I have to say that I actually really am impressed, because just like the Tron cabinet, it's got lights everywhere, which is really good for a trimmer to kind of clean up your space, right? You need something that's going to light the pathway for you cleaning that up. So I really appreciate the Lawnmower 4.0 is really good, and I have to recommend it, and you can save some money, 20%, if you use the coupon code KITS, KITS, at manscaped.com. And that is the end of the sponsorship. And we're going to jump right into this content here. Final Fight. Final Fight is something that I want to talk about. Now, you may be thinking, wait, is Justin talking about he wants a new Final Fight release in 2022? It's a little bit more nuanced than that. What I'm trying to talk about is Final Fight is a cabinet that came out in early 2019, and it's never seen a re-release, and that's unfair. It's super unfair. I'm going to give you a breakdown, a couple reasons. The main reason why is it's one of the best video games in arcade history of all times. And there was something kind of unfair that I think that took place. And this was in 2019. So I'm going to show this. For those of you may know My Life in Gaming. They make spectacular content. And they did a review on the Final Fight. And it's a really good review. Now, if you want to watch this review and you're like, wait, My Life in Gaming did a review of Arcade1up? Well, they never released it. It's only a part of their Patreon. So if I've been supporting My Life in Gaming for nearly 5 years, I want to say, at least 4 years, only $1 a month. And I remember watching this video in 2019, and I was like, no, it was like August 2019. And I'm like, they sent them a Final Fight? The Final Fight was the Gen 1, but by then we had all of these great cabinets that blew the Final Fight away. So the Final Fight cabinet is the early Gen 1. It has a 5x4 monitor. The resolution is all messed up. Like the chipset is an all-winner chipset that just has a really bad video output. And they figured it out. Like in the analysis, because these guys, My Life in Gaming, they don't play around. Like they do like really, really in-depth review of emulation and slow down and do side-by-sides. And they're like, this thing is not doing, Final Fight justice. This is one of the best arcade games of all time, and this is a toy from Walmart. Like, it's pretty tough. But in late 2019, we started seeing, like, the Marvel superheroes that I have behind me right here. This thing is awesome. Although it still has the 17-inch, this one's 4x3. Super high-quality monitor. The light-up marquee is amazing. All the emulation on this is fantastic, actually. It's a huge leap forward. And I know another guy, another YouTuber, and I tried to explain it to him, but he gave up already. His name is Ray Commend, great YouTuber, awesome friend, and he got the Street Fighter, and he's like, no way am I going to play the Street Fighter on the Gen 1. There's shimmering in the background. I'm like, man, but like all the Star Wars and all these other ones don't have it. So here's my point, guys. In 2022, we need to start seeing more from Arcade1up in like those big titles that they released earlier. They need re-released in this higher quality version. And like the Big Blue, but why wasn't Final Fight on the Big Blue? That's a big Capcom title. And so maybe the reason why is because they're reserving it for its own cabinet. Will they re-release Final Fight? I think that's really interesting. So if you take a look, anyway, this is My Life in Gaming. They make amazing content. You got to check them out if you haven't already. If you go look at Final Fight, search for Final Fight on Arcade1up.com. They just have this first generation. Remember this? The first generation like didn't even come with a riser, right? But they have all these replacement parts. But they did come out with a Capcom head-to-head, and the Capcom head-to-head did have Final Fight. And although I haven't played this one, it's supposed to have all the higher quality specs that we'd expect from Arcade1up these days. It had the Final Fight on it. So that's good. But honestly, I don't even consider these cabinets canon. Like, who talks about the head-to-head cabinets? Maybe you bought one and maybe you enjoy it. But for me, it's just not a successful series from Arcade1up. They're really big. They're really expensive. And, they take up a lot of floor space. And then you got to have chairs on the side. I'm sure they work perfect for some people. But for me, I never bought one because of those reasons. And then, okay, they have this other Capcom head-to-head, same thing. But let's talk about Defender. Because Defender is an example of, I think they made a huge mistake here. They re-released Defender as a reskin of Mortal Kombat. And again, there's probably some people out there that thought, man, this is my only chance to get a Defender. Defender is on the Mortal Kombat series, but the problem is it has the Mortal Kombat button layout. And that's not doing Defender justice. You understand? Like, there's people on the groups that are sharing what they're doing is they're paying, $450 for this cabinet and then swapping out the control deck for one from DIY Retro Arcade and then just customizing it. And in fact, if you go to QVC, this isn't a good example. QVC has the Defender partycade, which actually has the button layouts really, really well. Like, it's perfect for Defender. It looks like a kind of shrunk down version of the real Defender, right? That control panel is great. You got the reverse right next to the joystick, a couple buttons on the side. You can even play Rampage and other games on it. Like, the button layouts works really well. It works so well, they're always sold out. The Defender is like always sold out. I did pick one up, so we'll talk about that a little bit. And there's a few problems with the Defender that is on my negative list as well. It's like, in 2022, there's like 2 takeaways in this video that are super negative that happened in 2021 that I never want to see again. I don't want to see that problem again. Someone at Arcade1up needs to say, like, hey, whatever suppliers we had to switch to because of the global shortage, like, it's unacceptable for some of these problems. Like, unacceptable. Like, we're charging $700 for these cabinets. We demand, like, very few compromises. Like, if we continue to get just bad parts, I'll stop buying. Like, it's that bad. It's getting that bad. I'm not completely giving up on the company because I've seen them improve so many times. So an example that gave me a breath of fresh air is the Defender and how well it's doing. Again, QVC themselves in their videos say they can't keep them in stock, and I think it's very true. So they became available. The market came and bought a whole bunch of them. I think they maybe did another run. I don't know how quickly that took. I don't know. They had to move them around. I don't know how long these things take to make, but they're sold out again. So keep in mind, the partycade is a great way to get into Arcade1up at an inexpensive price, and Defender is an example of them doing something great. Emulation is awesome. Scan lines are actually good on the Defender partycade. You got to check it out. Like, it's actually really good. And for $200, you hang it on the wall, you get controls. There's like almost no compromise except for it's a partycade. And then that's why I'm saying, like, why didn't they do that with this cabinet? $450 for a cabinet, or maybe $600 you have to pay a little bit more, but with the right control deck, with that same games list that's on the partycade, that is something good. The fewer the compromises, the better. But the moment you're like, yeah, we got these compromises, that's exactly when they shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people out there that probably are happy with this product, and maybe you guys can explain it to me. You're like, yeah, I like to be able to play Mortal Kombat on my Defender cabinet, but I don't know if it works, guys. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn because I don't have this cabinet. I didn't buy it, and maybe if I would have bought it, maybe I would have liked it, but I don't know. It just wasn't for me. So let's talk about some of the problems that are with these Arcade1up cabinets. So check this out. This is, watch closely, because you can see that this is the Defender partycade, and at a glance, they're doing something pretty good. I'm going to tell you right now, watch closely. The Marquee on the Defender is better than the Marquee on the three-quarter scale, and that's unacceptable. Except for I just lied to you, so watch closely. So here's the Defender partycade. I just turned it on, and it lights up. And that yellow and orange looks amazing. Look at all the darks. It's all amazing. Except when you actually look closer on it. Now, I could see it with my naked eyes, but I had to zoom in with my phone. Do you see those little lines? It's going to come back to it in a second. You see? That looks all right, but right there, boom! What is going on there? The quality of this is not good. Did they switch to a different supplier? Because that's an eyesore. Now, granted, if someone walks into your room and you see the partycade, they're not going to see that. But the problem is, as Console Fanboy has always said, like, you're standing right in front of this cabinet because, like, you're staring at a wall. And that's the problem with the partycade is, you know, the quality over this black, you can see where it's printing. and it's an eyesore. And when you're standing that close, you're gonna see it. Now, again, it gets worse. And this is gonna hurt if anyone from Arcade1up is watching this. I'm saying this so it'll hurt. So your next meeting is, yeah, this is unacceptable. We're gonna fix this. For, I know you can't recall this because you just used the supplier to do the print. I get it. There's options out there. 19K Fox did a video on that. He was saying, like, go to Game On Graphics, spend like $28, and you could peel off their Arcade1up marquee and put in your own graphic. I was even thinking about reaching out to my buddy Mason Conrad, who does a lot of thumbnails for the YouTubers, and be like, hey, could you help me? Like, I'll show you what I want the marquee to look like. Maybe I'll do that on my Class of 1981, kind of try to make it look even closer to the original, fewer compromises. So let's take a look at the Class of 1981. Now, first of all, later I'll have a review on this partycade where I'll go a little bit more in depth, but I wanted to show you this detail where the marquee, again, if you're standing a little further away, it looks fine. It pops. It looks really, I mean, look at it. That's basically what it looks like in person. But the moment you go to play it and you're, a foot away from it, that's when you'll start seeing the lines. But that's not the case for the Class of 1981. This is what my Class of 1981 looks like. Now, maybe I just got a bad unit, but I've seen other people also complain. Now, watch closely to the marquee of this Class of 1981. Let me turn down the audio. Let's check this out. So this is the Miss Pac-Man Class of 1981. It's almost perfect. It's almost a perfect cabinet, except for you see that? I'm pointing it out in the video. Like, you can see where the printer just did some gnarly stuff on it. And I've made videos before in the past, and I'll have to make disclaimers that say, hey, I'm filming with a camera or a phone, and it looks better in person. That's not the case with this marquee. This marquee in person looks just like that. Because here's the thing, like, sometimes when a marquee isn't very good, it picks up that isn't very good on a camera. But sometimes when it's really nice, the camera's lying to. But in this case, the camera is absolutely telling the truth. And again, I know it's probably hard. Like, a really, really nice version of the marquee would be something where the print, I don't know if they could do this, where the print over here has no, it doesn't, it's not translucent at all. Light doesn't go through it, but only light goes through in this area. I know it's complex, because it's a print and it's a full-scale light or whatever. But the point is whatever supplier they're using to print this, they need to talk to them and say, we want quality control. We want pictures of the marquee. We want to review it. Because if they're manufacturing this way and they sent someone, like, give us a picture of every 100 units or whatever it is and email it to us, and we could say, nope, that's not acceptable. We pay you a certain price, and we don't expect, a problem like that. It looks like I used my laser jet to print this myself. I don't have a professional art printing press or anything like that. Like this is unacceptable, right? Again, I don't really want to be negative, but I want to be blunt. I want to be clear, because I want to continue to purchase these cabinets. And if next year we see issues with the marquee, right? What about the audio? That's another negative thing this year. Now, before we get all negative, negative here, let me go back to the positive. Let's go back to the positive. Let's lift up the spirits for this podcast. Put a smile on everyone's face, because this is what Arcade1up's history is. That's very positive. I got a list that I put together. Since 2018, their emulation has improved so much. Either from their internal team, which does a pretty good emulation with their commercial emulators, but also straight up code mystics on all their complex projects, like NBA Jam, the Killer Instinct that came out. Like, if you go check out the review from Twisted Chris, who is typically extremely harsh about all of Arcade1up's products, he did a really good review, goes into technical details that I think you would really enjoy. So you definitely got to check out that video. And the other things that Arcade1up has improved on, it's a 17-inch. monitor. If you take a look at all of these Arcade1ups that I have, 17-inch monitor. Now that this one right here is the iArcade. It's a 19-inch monitor, but it's a 5x4. Now, I forgive them for doing a 5x4 screen. The 19 inches, 4x3, I don't even know if they're available. And but they do a really good job making sure that it fits appropriately each game. You might see a little bit of black bars, and they have tons of options to be able to configure that. If Arcade1up next year comes out with a 19-inch screen or a 5x4 because of supply shortages, like, we don't know how many BOE monitors there are out there. What if they have to go back to an M17? Now, if they go back to the M17, let me tell you, the M17 monitor, which I have right here, it's not actually entirely bad. People hate on that Gen 1 M17, but nobody hates on the M17 that's on the MVSX. Why is that? It's the same monitor, right? It's from the same supplier, same manufacturer. It's because the MVSX has better control of the power. The actual power that's coming from the PCB that is powering that monitor is so important. And so the black levels on the M17 monitor from Arcade1up in their first gen was way overpowered. And in fact, there's kits out there that you can do to fix that monitor, and it essentially is regulating that voltage at a better rate. In fact, if you get the Intech Gaming control panel adapter that allows you to play Nintendo Switch on it, they have some new versions that are coming out in January that can play Nintendo, that can play Sega Genesis, and that comes with a replacement kit that includes replacing how the monitor is powered. And it actually makes it so those M17s from their first generation Arcade1up looks a lot better. It actually does, because it powers the monitor a lot better. Okay, not only that, the first generation Arcade1up cabinets outputted 680 by 480 out of this these lines from the the CPU, it's called the SoC, to a scaler that then upscaled it to 1280 by 1024. These are all maybe useless numbers to the average person that doesn't care about it. But going through all those different translations before it gets to the monitor caused a lot of problems. And the emulation wasn't very good. It was on a very low-end chip. But by the time they came out with this Marvel superhero, they fixed all that. They spent a lot more money on the high-quality PCB that they're using. Maybe it's not as higher quality as the iArcade, but it plays these old retro games very well. And most importantly, it outputs 960p, which is a perfect resolution for 4x3. It's basically the HD of 4x3. And it's doing that natively. There's no translation. It's the chip that they have in there actually supports native 960p over LVDS, which is the exact signal that goes to the monitor. No, there's no compromise there. It's great. Like, I can't think of a better way to do it. Maybe there's some technical people out there that understands the hardware circuitries that goes, I have a better idea. But for me, I don't have one. Like, that's really good. Again, the partycade is doing a lot better. That has scan lines that actually look really good. They're very subtle. I actually am super surprised of how good the Defender partycade scan lines are. Like, they're really subtle. You have to look really close to see it, and it doesn't darken the screen. I'll have to do a side-by-side. When I do the review, I'll do a picture with scan lines, without scan lines, try to get zoomed way in there to kind of see if you can see the darkness difference. And of course, most of the time with scan lines, it does cause the screen to be a little bit dark, but I didn't notice it. It looked really good. It was super surprising. What about the coin doors? The coin doors in 2021 are fantastic. Now, I actually haven't seen the coin doors in person, and that's because basically Big Blue didn't have a coin door, which it should have. Let's see. Super chat from Hobby Hands. He says, does Arcade1up use... Hold on a second. Why is it... Oh, sorry. Oh, why is it not doing it? Well, I'm really sorry. For some reason, it's not... Oh, I see it. Hold on. I just got to turn this on. Okay. He says, does 1UP use FPGA? Can't believe I don't know. No, they don't use FPGA. it's very unlikely that they would use FPGA. FPGA is a lot more expensive to do. The chips that are in here are much less expensive. They're little Linux boxes is all it is. Little ARM processor, quad-core ARM processor, kind of like somewhere between a Pi 3 and a Pi 4. But their first Arcade1up cabinets were really, worse than a Pi 3. But anyway, so thanks for the super chat. I appreciate the support. So this needs to be the top 2 priorities for Arcade1up going forward in 2022. So what do we need? That's the question I posed. And here's my answer. My answer is marquees need to be perfect. If you expect me to pay $700, marquee needs to be perfect. When I get a cabinet and I look at that marquee, I need to cry. I need to cry a little bit. And I want to do a video in 2022 that's like, they did it, guys. I'm going to start out the video with, they did it. The marquee is perfect. Have a good day. But I really need their support on that. I'm like, we got to tell them the marquee needs to be perfect. The second thing that we need from Arcade1up, what is going on with the audio? So these newer cabinets have this issue where there's no bass. You turn up the volume, it doesn't sound good. But as been pointed out by, here's a piece of information from Twisted Chris's video. He says the same complaint about the Killer Instinct. Again, make sure you watch that whole video. I'm just going to talk about this one tiny little part because it matches some information that I've heard. And I think 19K Fox also talked about it on a different cabinet. And that is this weird idea that out of the headphone jack, it sounds pretty good. If you plug $20 speakers into the audio jack, the audio sounds good. So coming out of the PCB, it sounds good. And there's even people on the groups that have said what they've done is they've taken the speakers from the stock cabinet and swapped it with another cabinet, an Arcade1up cabinet, where the sound sounds fine. And it still sounds horrible. So something is going on either with the firmware or the hardware circuitry of these newer cabinets. And it's basic. I was playing with it on the Defender. And the Defender is weird because the speakers are kind of below you. They're kind of different than another Arcade1up. So I'm going to have to compare like the Gen 2 partycade that I have to this Gen 3 partycade Plus to kind of see if there's any speaker issues. I'm not really sure at this point because I haven't dived deep into it. There was other audio going on in the room while I started unpacking it and playing with it yesterday. Yeah, Dr. Freeman says, is it rushed to production? I think it's definitely related. I think the quality issues are related to the shortage. Like there's literally shortages. And so their buyer that is looking for suppliers to be able to, have a competitive cost analysis to be able to, produce these cabinets at a rate where they're profitable. They're working on that. And they did something. It seems as though they didn't notice something in the quality control, or I don't know. So console fanboy with the super chat, he says, we know the quality isn't the best on a 1UP, and we know the quality doesn't match the price, but we have no idea how much they're spending on licenses. That's where the price increases come from. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, because my understanding, everyone says they're spending money on licenses and their licenses are really expensive, but that's a really weird argument. And the reason why I don't really agree with you, console fanboy, is because, okay, license deals I think are much more nuanced and complex than that. We've compared it before with the Arcade, saying they don't have enough units in the in their ecosystem to be able to justify going to say Capcom and saying we want a license. John D is even in the chat has said this formula of they need to be promised a million units or something like that for or $1 million in revenue for a big Capcom title to even answer the phone. But keep in mind, my understanding is these licenses are percentages, right? They're sharing the profits. right? Not like, this is what I don't believe it is. So I don't think it's like, hey, that cabinet costs $500 and the license cost is $50. It's more like that cabinet is $500 and the license cost is 10%, right? Or 30 or 70%, you know, whatever. Now that depends. Like if you're selling a game on the Apple Store, from Apple's point of view, the license cost is 70%. So that means the publisher is going to make 70% of the overall cost. For example, if I made a video game for an iPhone or an iPad, this is my cost. As a developer, this would be my cost. I have to pay $100 a year to be on Apple's platform. That's just Apple's thing. They have a $100, anyone can become a developer, but they have this $100 fee. And then I put my game on the store and I charge $1 for the game. And then Apple will keep 30% of that. So that's their platform cost. It's kind of like Nintendo back in the day. They would license, you could run your game on Nintendo's platform, but they would charge, I think it was like $10. And then Nintendo wanted to manufacture a lot of those as well. But I think Arcade1up is different. Arcade1up is like, there's a percentage, right? That the publisher or the IP or all the different parties in it. So I think as the cabinets go up in price, everybody's kind of making more money, especially the manufacturers. Now, I could be speaking way out of turn. I mean, this is all based on just, you know, all the shows of 1UP Weekly and with John and other shows where he's talking. And I hear him subtly say different words and I pick up on it. And he'll say, when he talks about license, sometimes he'll say a percentage number. He won't say like a flat fee. He'll be like, they'll get their percent, you know? And so I actually think their deal is, it's a partnership. It's like, if we sell 1 million units and we make this much money, the licensor will get a percentage of those profits, right? But I think the increased cost in 2021 is 2 reasons. One, they wanted to increase their margins a little bit, so everybody makes more money. Why? Because they're going to sell less cabinets. And when they sell less cabinets, they have to increase the price. And the second reason is because the cost of product went up. So you kind of combine those two. They knew that they couldn't sell at $299 anymore because they couldn't justify that price because the manufacturer price went up. So they raised it a little bit more, and they knew people were going to buy less, so they had to raise it a little bit more. And that's the whole point. If that's true, and I have to pay $7, $8, $9, $1,000 perhaps, is that where the price trajectory is going? Cool. No more compromises then. That's my deal. I'll keep buying cabs at that outrageous price. Marquees need to be perfect. Audio needs to be perfect. No more speaker gate. No more. And give me a coin door on every single cabinet. That's what I want. That's what I want. None of the, if you're going to do a coin door, don't do a fake one. Don't do a fake coin door, okay? Let's see. Need ways to play, especially for cabs with one game like T2. I want to select the level I want to play. I want challenges, modes, great for beat 'em ups. That's cool. I guess more options. I think that would increase their cost of... thanks, Craig, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. That would increase their development cost. I know development costs are in the hundreds of thousands per cabinet. That's a little bit different. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe with Code Mystics, they do a profit sharing as well. It's like, hey, you know, put in, you know, whatever, 3 months of development time and we'll give you a 1% or who knows, 10, 50, who knows what the percentage, I'm just guessing, right? Or is Code Mystics saying, yeah, for the emulation of KI, we want $1 million. And then for that $1 million, we'll also support that cabinet for 10 years, you know, and we'll make sure that the online is there for 10 years or something. I don't know, but, you know, all those things cost money, and they cost a lot of money, but keep in mind, Arcade1up also will put out a cabinet, a brand new cabinet, and sell 10,000 their first day, right? So they cost a lot, they charge us a lot, and that's their game. That's their model. Their model is they get these big emulation companies to do near perfect emulation on Killer Instinct, and it comes at a cost all around. But if they nail it, then everyone is happy. So let's see. What I'd like to do now is pose to the audience. There's a lot of chat in here. It's really hard to keep up with it. So what I'd like to do is type in my name, Console Kits, or question, either one. I just so happen to have a filter on it right now where if you do type in question, it'll be big and bold, kind of like a super chat to me. Or if you put my name in, Console Kits, at Console Kits, it also is highly highlighted. But I'd love to hear from you. And here's the question. What do you need in 2022 from Arcade1up? Now, it can go a couple different ways. Maybe you're going to mention a title, and we'll discuss that. And maybe it's a technical feature. Maybe there's something that you want out of it. And I'll do my best to share whether I think that's reasonable. And I'm not using my tool again. What are you talking about? It's just a simple... put Zohar on permanent slow chat. Yeah, I think I have everything on 1 minute, and I can drop that if you guys want. Let me see if I can. I don't think it'll allow me to drop it, actually. And there's one more thing that I would like to ask. I'm going to do a poll real quick. Now, this poll is personal. I have Kohl's Cash, and this is a quick reminder. I have a quick reminder for everyone that bought recently from Kohl's. Double check that if you have Kohl's Cash, keep close in mind when that Kohl's Cash is going to expire. Mine expires like on the 7th, okay? And I think I'm just going to buy another Arcade1up product. And so while you guys are telling me what your wishes are, and we'll read those chats, I'm going to put a poll together. I'm going to do this. I can't decide between a cabinet. I'm going to let you guys decide what it is. And so which 2-player countercade should I get? And I get... Okay. So the choices are NBA Jam and TMNT. I literally was going back and forth, couldn't decide which one I would get. So I'm going to put together the poll, and towards the end of the show, we'll reveal which one that ended up being. And now I'm going to look at the chat here and see what you guys think Arcade1up needs to do in 2022. Let me see if I can hide that poll. There we go. Okay, so we got a couple questions coming in. Let's see. Whoa, there we go. Let me just read it like this. A jousting cabinet in 2022. See, that would be interesting to see if they made... I wonder, I mean, does it need to be specific joust? Like, could it be skin joust, but it's the Defender layout? Because it's a really interesting, if you're going to do like a Midway Williams cabinet, could they afford? Maybe they could. But see, if you theme it for full-on joust, are you going to be able to play Defender? Or maybe they just go with different titles. See, I think that's one of the complexity... And those I just saw, Nate, why am I on slow chat? You're not. Everyone is. I just said it. I was trying out a 60-second, like you can chat, but you have to wait 60 seconds. No one's banning you or anything like that. It's just the way I configured the stream. Let's see. Looking for it. And then we got a super chat from Hobby Hands. Appreciate it. He goes, 1UP needs a competitor. They will up their game. That's interesting because some people have debated that. They're like, Arcade1up does have a competitor. You got AtGames, you got Arcade, you got the MVSX. But other people's like, they're not really competitors. They're not really making a dent compared to how many sales Arcade1up has. There's kind of a debate there. One thing for sure, we could say, no one's doing the model that Arcade1up is doing. Mass sell of cabinets at major retailers, where the cabinet has 1 game, 2 games, 4 games, 12 games. And really, they're making cabinets for the publisher or for the owner of the IP. As an example, they'll make a Simpsons cabinet. They'll make a Star Wars pinball machine, a Star Wars cabinet. Those are Arcade1up reaching out to Disney specifically and saying, what cabinet are we making this year for you, right? And they're like, yeah, let's take a couple games out of the vault and let's get them out there. All right, so yeah, it would be cool. Here's the thing: I don't know if they may have it closed, because John D from Capcom joined Arcade1up, and he's doing a really. I think he's basically negotiated near exclusive rights to some of these titles. Not actually exclusive, but it's currently there's no competitor that will move the titles as much as Arcade1up in this space. So I think he gets the first choice of, like, Sega, for example, is shared between the different people, and so we'll see how that goes. Looking for questions. Let's see. There we go. I want more unique arcade control arcade cabinets. So this is good. There's a couple of positives to this idea of unique controls, and the idea is like kind of what I was trying to do here. Like right here, I have two fighters, so this Street Fighter will eventually go. I think there'll be a day where I no longer own any of the Gen 1 arcade cabinets, and I'll sell those kind of on Marketplace. Probably, I'm going to hopefully get some of my money back, but I'm okay with letting them go. And actually, I mean, think about it. If I bought this one for $300 back in the day, man, if I got $300 for it, that'd be a really good deal. But probably not. And I recently sold a couple at an auction, and I'll probably put together a video about that. It was kind of exciting to see me sell Arcade1ups at an auction, and I filmed it, the actual moment of like the bidding, and then they went. And I'll probably do that with some of the other ones. But anyway, going back to the unique controls, I like that. If you take a look at what I have behind me, Star Wars, a flight yoke, unique control. You got the 12-in-1. This will eventually be replaced with the Tempest that I have. You know, then we have the Marvel superheroes. This was kind of like, if I want to play some fighting games. But I've also bought Big Blue. It could supplant that. Like Big Blue, someone asked in the chat, is Big Blue worth $4.99? I bought it for about that price. It was $5.99, but then $200 in Kohl's cash, so give or take, you know. It's pretty good, and I think this fighting community is going to blow up. You know, make sure you check out Put Your Quarters on the Glass. He's doing some really exciting streams. He's did some competition. I'm looking forward to. I talked to him. I want him to train me, like a master class on how to be really, really good at Street Fighter. And he's promised that he'll give me the special training so I can actually defeat Zohar. And I'm gonna just learn. I don't care about getting high on the score. I just want to destroy Zohar, because he's the roach. No, I'm not gonna say mean things. I almost did, but I stopped myself, Zohar. You saw it. I stopped myself. Respect. I'll see you on the Big Blue. We'll do it, man. I'm gonna destroy you. That's why I like Big Blue, because we can have some fun with Big Blue, playing some online games. Mike, thanks for the super chat. He says, in 2022, I also want countercades to be online to build the user base. Also, Sega Model 2 cabs. Also, a 4-player Konami Legacy cab with Sunset Rider art. All of those are beautiful, my friend. Those are great things. I'm really curious if Arcade1up would do that. I think they could do online countercades. Maybe that would increase the cost, but they could do some trade-offs. Like, maybe the 2-player countercade was not the right way to go. And maybe they should do, it's just a 1-player countercade, but USB for the second player. Maybe they should play around with different sizes of the countercade, maybe a different screen size, right? And maybe they can get away with online. Actually, I saw a really cool custom party counter-ish cade cabinet, and I sent it to John. I was like, here's some guy that made a custom cabinet. It was a Sega Blast that someone made, and it's got a really big monitor, actually, but it was like the size of a partycade. It was like a tabletop. I was like, that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. That's like a different way to do it. But will they do online? Maybe. I think they're going to start adding Wi-Fi to a lot of their machines, so that allows them to do firmware updates. So we'll see. We'll see. One thing I think we will see, I did get confirmation There will be more online cabs that come out in 2022. So that is something we will see. It's probably no surprise to anyone. It seems like that's their future. They want to mix this. Yes, it's true that back in the day, there was no online capability on these arcade cabinets, but it's modern times, right? And especially with the global events that took place in 2020 and 2021, and even still, right? It's limiting our ability to be able to go over to people's houses, right? And there's some people that are still fearsome about that. And that online capability allows us to be able to have a home arcade. I think if you're going to bring an arcade into your home, you're already not a real arcade, right? I mean, does it have all the things that a real arcade has? No. So the atmosphere is different. And so online allows us to play against each other. And the more they can do that, the better. But here's the thing. I asked John, what was it? It was, if you repeat some of the games that are online on some of the 22 cabinets, like, let's say they come out with a different cabinet in 2022, and it has some of the games that are online already in 2021, will I still be able to play against the people that have the other cabinet? And he's like, yeah. So as of right now, the plan is, at least, he told me the plan, but, subject to change, of course. It's by what setting you're on. The game plus settings. So let's say you're playing, let's say Pac-Man. Of course, they're going to come out with Pac-Man next year. And they come out with another Miss Pac-Man or something, and it's online, but it's like a different formula. It looks different, or maybe it's a cocktail. I don't know. I'm literally making it up. So you would be able to submit your high scores on that Miss Pac-Man, and you would be competing against two different cabinet styles, same game, same settings. So if you're using stock settings, then you're competing on a leaderboard with stock settings. And then there's the any settings, and if you make any change to the game, then you're competing on the any, but it's game to game. That's really cool. So we could probably see variations of the fighting cabinets that come out, maybe a variation KI or Street Fighter or something like that. And you would, in those, when you're actually, doing a net play, supposedly it's going to be the same thing. Like, it's net play against each other. So the reason I bring that up is if, this is a great super chat, because if they do a countercade Street Fighter that's online, if I understand it correctly, you could buy the countercade and compete against people that have the big blue. Because it's the same game, same setting, and this wouldn't be a private leaderboard or competition. It would be kind of the Arcade1up global ecosystem, if you will. Anyway, great question. Consultations, he says, subwoofer with dedicated power, not from PCB. PCB can't provide enough for the good bass. Now, while I agree with you in spirit, I think the PCB could. The PCB does have a section on the printed circuit board where it's receiving, I believe it's 12 volts, 3 amps, and they could change that to 4 amps. I think maybe the pinball machine is different, and that power circuit has, all these power regulators on it and caps or whatever to both feed 3 volts to the SoC, but also amplify the audio circuit for the speakers. And so having it be a dedicated power, that wouldn't really make sense to me. It makes sense, like saying, hey, just make it separate so I can increase it. But you could also just increase it and then regulate it well between the PCB, the lights, and the sound. Like, it would probably cost them more to make it separate when it doesn't need to be. But in spirit, I agree with you. Hey, if definitely the audio shouldn't suck. And right now, there's some complaints about the audio sucking. And one way to squash that is have more than 2 speakers, have better amplification system. And if that happens, I'll definitely come out with a video. It's like, they did it. They fixed the audio, and here's how. And I look forward to that if they do that, but we'll see. Yeah, we're all rushing to Cole's Cash. Let's see. Question. We need consistency, kick plates, and control deck slants. So true. When it comes to games like Pac-Man, I mean, I saw the leak, maybe you guys did, where they had this slanted Pac-Man. I eventually want to see that. Dang it. If they did that, I would totally buy it over the class of 1981, too. Oh, man. Whew. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I just said that out loud, too. Wow. See, they're going to get me if they improve it. So we got Time Crisis. Zane says, I need better Marquee's coin doors on all and Terminator Salvation. There we go. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Let's see. I think I got a couple things in here. Oh, thank you so much. We got some support renewals. Console fanboy, or sorry, Zohar, as he says I have to call him now. That is his name. Mike of All Trades showing his support. Donna Time showing his support. 8 months, buddy. Nick Madsen also 8 months. Really appreciate the support. Console Fanboy says, why do you think Arcade1up is ignoring the Virtual Fighter series? There are over 6 Virtual Fighter games, and they have Sega, so why not release Virtual Fighter games? I think they'll do it eventually, man. You know that. There's only so many cabinets that they're going to build each year. And they're going to have challenges, right? So certain cabinets are going to be done by Code Mystics, right? They can't actually go to Code Mystics and say, here's 5 projects we need you to do this year. If they don't have the time, they don't have the time. So maybe they're only doing 1 or 2. You know, they did Outrun last year, and then this year they did KI. KI was probably a really big project for them to integrate and get that tweaked. So we'll see. It's going to come, man. It's going to come. They have like a 5-year plan, man. And like everything that they have a license to that's big like that is on their list. This isn't going away anytime soon. Let's see. Let's see. Why wasn't... hold on one second. I got to double check my stream settings. Everything is good. Yep. Looking good. There was a super chat. I'm sorry I missed it. From Resolution number 9. Release a candy cab. And super chat from Nat UT. It says, thanks. Dragon's Lair will be Pro Line title. You know, I don't know about... That's a good one. Let me make sure the chat jumped on me. I'm Rev. I missed Rev too. Sorry. This happens when you're it's the same screen that you guys see when you're doing the chat, and if you stay in one spot and then you scroll down, it jumps and you'll miss them. I don't know because what we do know is the original one, the Dragon's Lair that they showed on Arcade1up's website, the one that is on Arcade1up's website right now. Let's take a look at it. So the Dragon's Lair that is on Arcade1up's website right now. Let's find it. Dragon's Lair. So this cabinet right now, this picture, this looks like a phone. They're not going with a phone. It's an alphanumeric screen. And they're going back to the drawing board. So will it actually end up looking quite different? I don't know. It'll probably be more like Tron, is my guess. Because Tron, I think, is their new standard for, you know, if you're going to do it with only a couple of games, like, you're going to do it really well. And, you know, there's a lot of positivity about Tron right now. So it looks like they did really good on that cab. It's not 100% perfect. Let's see. Question, why does Arcade1up deserve a pro line when they can't even get their non-pro lines correct? I think the answer is because the pro line is basically no compromise. The price is super high. So, you know, we're talking like hapsticks, you know, full-size height of a cabinet, except for the depth is smaller because of an LCD, 20-inch screen, you know, no riser. Like, this is kind of the dream cabinet that would only be at the big box stores. It might break the 48-inch dimension rule that they have. And if it'd be online, it would be great, right? And with that budget, I think they wouldn't cut corners, essentially. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, also, even if they did the current 3/4 scale perfect at the price they're at, I would still prefer a pro line. I'm the type of person that if it came exactly the way I wanted it, I would buy it and pay a little more for it, even if it cost me more to, you know, if it costs me less to get it there, if I don't have to do the work, I'd count that. I'd be down for that. I don't know if they'll ever do exactly my dream cabinet in the exact specs, but I think they could definitely make a lot of people happy. Arcade1up can't expect casual customers to buy PCB and install them into their cabs just to have more games. Do you think Arcade1up has a store to buy games in 2022? I don't know if they'll do it in 2022, but the fact that a lot of their newer cabs are online definitely opens up that possibility. And keep in mind, a lot of their newer cabs have an SD card. And while some people can't, replace the PCB or anything like that, what they probably could do is say, if you want to add more games, this is how you do it. You download this package, and the package would be like encrypted or compressed, and it probably have the ROMs inside it, but not in a way that you could depack or anything like that. You put it on an SD card. They go to the store, get an SD card, or they would sell an SD card with the 20 extra games or 5 extra games on their website. They send it to you. They're like, stick it into this model, and bam, you'll get more games. And keep in mind, the Outrun firmware update was a test that they could, after the time in which they had manufactured those PCBs, they later could add another game. And they did that through a similar mechanism as what they could do later. You know what I mean? So they basically already tested that they could do it. Just maybe would it just be more free games, or you'd probably, buy. And also, this is future proofing, because who knows, maybe it's way down the line when they would do that. There you go. So how about Williams' cabinet with Sinistar? That would be really cool. And it was really impressive to hear that Tron has like an optical, it's a higher end way to do the spinner here. Going optical opens up a lot of possibilities, because if you look at Sinistar, that is a 49-way gate. And what is a 49-way gate? It's basically in every direction. Just think of the 4 micro switches have 3 levels of sensitivity, right? And so you got 3 this way, 3 this way, 3 that way. So technically, in all corner combinations, it's like you're in a matrix of 7 by 7. So if you go way over here, you're in the corner of a matrix. You go way over here, corner of that, and there's 49. 7 times 7 is 49, so it's like a 49-way gate. So that means if you turn really tight, Sinistar, or not Sinistar, but whatever the ship is called, will spin that much quicker, right? So depending on how you move that stick, could they do something like that with that technology, with more of a serial or optical technology? I think technically you could do it with even 2 pots, I think. Kind of like the Star Wars cabinet. It's like the level of sensitivity. Imagine that was a matrix, and where you're pointing the arrow is the sensitivity of that 49-way gate. There's a lot of different possibilities what they could do. That would be cool. Never will happen, but I like Assault. There we go. Let's see. Tron completed my Arcade1up arcade, my A1up arcade. The only path A1up has towards more of my money is upgraded or replacement parts of my cabinet. There you go. Rainwater says, I think they just need to focus on quality control. Yeah. They are set on their prices, so they need to be 100% sure their products are quality and not full of flaws and problems. 100%. 100%. Let's see. 2022, more popular single titles like Qbert, Spy Hunter, Robotron, better controls and speakers, more accurate cab designs, and light up coin doors. Again, so good. If they're going to do a coin door, make them light up. And come on, guys, who wants it? Also, make them work, right? Like, make it so you can press the button. Like, we want to hit it, ding, 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 and get credits that way. That would... Look, it's one of those things where it's a compromise. Like, yeah, it's not going to take quarters and probably never will. And if you want to do a quarter upgrade, you could do that yourself. There's been mods since Gen 1s for putting a real coin door in an Arcade1up. You can wire that to that button and make it where the buttons don't actually work. You have to put a quarter in to use it. Sure. But, like, a kid walks up and knows that, okay, that's a coin door, but they're going to try to touch it, and it'd be cool if it's like ding, ding, it actually works. That'd be cool. So I definitely want to make sure I get these super chats. It says Zohar will feel the full power of console kits and Rev. Can I do his voice? Zohar will feel the full power of console kits and Rev. We will be coming for your custom to die for MK cab, where we will take it out of the Office Space style. That's right. Put your quarters on the glass. There you go. All right. Let's see. How are we doing on time? We are right there, guys. All right. So thank you so much for another wonderful show from yet another Home Arcade podcast. And there's just one last thing for us to do. No! What is seriously? You guys, you can't do this to me. You can't do this. 50-50? What? I need your votes right now. I need your votes now, guys. Seriously. The chat is split. It's okay. Put your final put it in there, guys. What's it gonna be? I'm gonna end the poll in 1 minute. NBA Jam or TNT? Which one is it gonna be? Look down. Make sure you can submit your poll results. Come on, like, I didn't vote. Start putting your votes in. Yeah, thank you, How to Bachelor, for mentioning. He says, like, comment, and subscribe to Console Kits. I really appreciate your support, buddy. If I end the poll right now, this is it. It's at 50-50. The next time I see this move, oh, you know what's funny? I kind of wanted TMNT. Now it's like actually coming out because I'm like, I don't want it to be. Help me out, guys. I need some more TMNT votes. Give me a TMNT. Give me a TMNT. Come on, guys. Now I don't want NBA Jam. Okay. Come on. Give me some more votes. Ah, it's going all the way. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching another episode of yet another Home Arcade podcast. We are here every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to have fun, to talk about our favorite subject, and that is home arcades. What are you doing this week? I hope you're going to have a good rest of the week. I hope this made a good, whether you're watching this on Sunday or maybe it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I know I got watchers on those days as well. I hope that you have a good week, and we'll see you guys next time. And I'm going to end the poll, and the results are... it's NBA Jam. It's no NBA Jam. Wow. It's NBA Jam is what I mean to say. It is NBA Jam. I want to thank Brian Schmidt for becoming a member. Really appreciate that, Brian. Appreciate the support so much. And yeah, no phone calls. I didn't see any phone calls, buddy. Did you call in or something? Let's see. Okay. We'll do a late breaking phone call real quick. Let's see. You guys couldn't hear it. Sorry. Oh my god. It was just blank.
Hey, Console Kids.
Okay.
This is Endless One Up.
I literally turned audio off on everything. Okay, so Endless One Up made a call. Sorry, guys. Endless One Up made a call. Let's listen to it.
Hey, Console Kids. This is Endless One Up. Thanks for making this episode. I'm really enjoying you going over the marquees. As you might know, I had the issue with my Tron,
Mm.
but they're going to take care of it. But
He had a one-off issue, right?
I think they should just stop using these stickers and do silk screening.
Yeah, they got to fix it.
I think some of them do have silk screens. I can't tell you if they do or they don't. Maybe you know.
I'm not sure.
But Tron is definitely a sticker, and I don't like stickers.
Ah.
Okay, peace. Thanks. Take
All
it easy.
All right, so everyone heard that, right? Do you guys? Let me make sure you guys heard it. There was no audio, and then it got fixed. You went mute. Sorry about the muting. All right. So give me a thumbs up now. You guys can hear everything now, right? Yeah, I think you can. I see my mic is on and hot. Okay. So that was, yeah, we heard. Okay, we hear the call. Thank you so much. We have one more call, and we'll end it. Here we go.
Hey, Justin, it's me. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, anyway, I'm really scared of Arcade1up next year. They say there's a rumor that they're going to release 15 to 20 cabs.
What?
So what does that mean for my wallet? 15 to 20 cabs?
15 to 20 cabs.
Who's to say they're not going to have Cruisin' or Blitz or the Virtua Fighter series? God knows what they're going to release. They release maybe even Run and Gun 2. There are a lot of games that I still want. And for them to say 15 to 20 cabs
No way.
next year, that makes me nervous, man. I'm nervous. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm done. Oh, by the way, this is what's my name? What should my name be? This is Ricardo.
It's Ricardo. Well, thank you, Endless One Up, and thank you, Ricardo, for calling in for this show. And we had a special request from Nate. He said, any after show. And here's the deal. If you guys want, I can't even click on why it doesn't let me. Anyway, if you guys want an after show, I will give you an after show. I only do after shows when someone requests an after show. So I'll do an after show, but it'll be after. We'll chat, talk about whatever. Comment down below in the video whatever you guys want to talk about for the after show. I'll think about it. And don't forget to watch 19K Fox. He has a show on tonight as well. We got to support our brothers and sisters in the home arcade community. So we'll have another show afterwards. Chill and chat, talk about whatever you want. It's the after show. Here we go. I see why the chat's not up. It's the after show. We're doing an after show. Ricardo is God tier. Don't forget to check out 19K Fox. This guy makes great. If you like this podcast, you're going to love 19K Fox podcast. It's really, really good. So everyone go give some 19K Fox love. That came out weird. And then after his show, we'll come back here and have some more fun. All right? See you guys. Where's the stupid end button? God. Oh, that was good. Oh, man. So much better now that stupid show's up. Oh, I'm still live!